5 News This Morning starts now.
The FDA announcing updated guidelines for COVID-19 vaccines. I'll break down the new changes coming up.
And for rainfall Friday night to Saturday, looks a little bit lower than yesterday, but still could see some thunderstorms overnight. We'll talk about that more coming up.
Plus, work on the Midland Bridge in Fort Smith starts up again today, while RDOT says they had to pause construction.
And this morning, we're taking a live look outside in Rogers. Good morning to you there.
Well, thanks for waking up with us here on this Thursday. One more day, we'll make it to Friday.
That's Friday Eve.
Yeah, Friday Eve. Danny?
It's Friday Eve.
Friday Eve. We want some good news because we want a great weekend.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice weekend. Really, the only hiccup is going to be those rain chances Friday night and early Saturday, but it looks like we'll kind of shoot the gap, so to speak, that a lot of that will be overnight, but still kind of looking at kind of model data coming in to hopefully kind of exactly pinpoint that. Right now, we are seeing that sunrise in the next 20 minutes or so. We're seeing a lot of that orange and a little bit of thin cloud cover on the horizon, especially in the river valley, but eventually as we head towards later this morning, we're going to see a lot of sunshine, and that's going to warm us up quite a bit into the 80s and low 90s in some areas. You can see that on satellite, a lot of that cloud cover moving from northwest to southeast. Might see a little bit of also come into the area for northwest Arkansas, but I think any rain chances are pretty nil at this point just because a lot of that's staying off to the north and to the east. So partly cloudy skies this morning at the bus stop, temperatures in the 60s. By recess, it'll be warm. Those temperatures will be in the 80s with some sunshine. As you're heading home, those temperatures will be in the 80s and low 90s, as I mentioned. Some spots, again, could be in the mid 90s in the river valley. So as we head into the rest of the week, what can we expect? Well, it's going to be warm through Friday, especially in the river valley, but a cold front will start to come in during the day tomorrow, bringing us rain chance, especially overnight, and a much needed cool down as we head into the weekend. So we'll talk more about all this here coming up in your full forecast. For now, I'll take a live look at traffic on this Friday. Oh, I almost said Friday. It's not quite Friday, guys. I know you just said Friday Eve. Sorry, Tiffany, you got that in my head. Anyway, I-40 at exit 55 in Clarksville. Nice shot there of the sunrise. Again, well, in the next 20 minutes, but it is very nice out there. Again, just be mindful that it's going to be a little bit warmer today, so maybe grab a little bit of an extra water, and we'll have that full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, a woman from Greenwood is accused of running over her husband in Lavaca. Wednesday, the Sebastian County Sheriff's Office said they arrested 34-year-old Dara Masterson. She's being charged with second-degree battery and driving while intoxicated. Deputies received a medical call on Sunday for Masterson's husband. He was later airlifted to Little Rock for treatment. Officials confirmed he is still in the hospital but is now in stable condition.
In other news, we've learned the funeral details for State Senator Gary Stubblefield. His body will lie in state at the Capitol Rotunda in Little Rock from 10 to 2 on September 11th, which is a week from today. His body will then be moved to a funeral home in Charleston, and the public can pay their respects there that Friday. His funeral service will be that Saturday at the Charleston High School gym. Stubblefield died on Tuesday at 74 years old.
Well, today the Fort Smith community can attend a virtual public hearing on a proposed expansion of the F-35 Pilot Training Center. It's part of the military sales program there at Ebbing Air National Guard Base. The Department of the Air Force has released a draft statement about potential impacts of expanding the center. These could include construction and demolition activities. Today's hearing will start at 5:30, and you can register online.
Well, tonight, work on the Midland Bridge between Van Buren and Fort Smith will resume. The Arkansas Department of Transportation says that the bridge first needed maintenance about a year ago, with plans to be finished by this past spring. Crews plan to resurface and repave the deck, but small fractures were discovered in one of the back walls, which halted construction. Officials say the maintenance needed is not a safety concern.
It had the normal issues of wear and tear. It needed to be resurfaced. It needed to be repaved, so to speak. It needed a new, smooth deck portion to it.
Construction is expected to be complete around Thanksgiving. Well, U.S. health officials have given the green light to updated COVID-19 vaccines for this fall, but access remains limited for some groups.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi spoke with a local pharmacist to explain what's changing, who qualifies, and what you need to know. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Pharmacist Andrew Mize from Debbie's Family Pharmacy in Rogers says that in Arkansas, pharmacies can administer COVID-19 vaccines based on FDA guidelines. He notes that as of now, Arkansans don't need a prescription to receive the latest version of the COVID-19 vaccine. but there are some changes from previous years. Now, the new shots from drug manufacturers such as Pfizer, Moderna, and Novavax are approved for all seniors, but the Food and Drug Administration has limited their use for younger adults and children to those with at least one high-risk health condition. This means millions of Americans may no longer qualify for the vaccine. Mize says some of those high-risk conditions include respiratory illnesses, liver or heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. He says while a prescription is not needed, his pharmacy will have patients fill out a form in which they state whether or not they meet the new criteria. This year's formula targets the LP 8.1 variant, the strain federal health officials have identified as the preferred choice for better protection this season.
The variant is going to change from year to year, so this one is a new one that has been put out based off of what they believe is the current variant available. So it's a little bit different. It's not the exact same as previous years, but it's kind of like the flu shot. It changes a little bit each year. And so if you've had the shot before, theoretically your immune system would still have some protection, but it may not be as strong against the current variant.
Well, the new vaccines are expected to begin shipping soon, but it could be days or weeks before Americans can get them. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Jacob. Well, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is set to testify before the Senate Finance Committee today.
The hearing is to discuss the Trump administration's health policy, which has been on the schedule for some time, but now he's expected to be grilled by lawmakers over growing calls for his dismissal. Jared Hill has more.
Today, a Republican-led Senate committee addressing new concerns about Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as more than 1,000 current and former HHS employees demand his resignation or removal.
There's serious allegations.
In a letter, they say the country's top health official is endangering the nation's health by spreading inaccurate health information. Senator Bill Cassidy, a doctor and a member of today's panel.
I'm not presupposing anybody's right or wrong. We got to get to the bottom of it.
The hearing comes a week after the Trump administration fired former CDC Director Susan Menares, sparking the resignation of several other top officials. The White House and RFK Jr. have defended the move.
There's a lot of trouble at CDC, and it's going to require getting rid of some people over the long term in order for us to change the institutional culture.
At the heart of the turmoil, vaccine policy. Last week, the FDA limited new COVID-19 shots to people over 65 or with certain pre-existing conditions. Wednesday, Democratic governors of California, Oregon, and Washington state announced a health alliance to preserve vaccine access. But in Florida, the state's Surgeon General announced efforts to eliminate all vaccine mandates.
What you put into your body is because of your relationship with your body and your God.
Critics call the decision reckless and dangerous. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, this morning we're working to learn more after a man was attacked by a bear on Wednesday afternoon in an event officials are calling exceedingly rare.
5 News reporter Emily Moss is joining us live at Washington Regional, where the man is said to be recovering. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, Joe and Tiffany. Right now, we're not sure about what the condition of the man is after he was attacked yesterday by a black bear. We do know the Arkansas Game and Fish said that he was airlifted here from Franklin County after he was attacked on Mulberry Mountain after his son was able to help rescue him. It happened just before 4 o'clock. The man was working on gravel with his tractor on Mulberry Mountain when officials say the bear began to attack him. His son found the man actively under attack while checking in on his progress and began throwing rocks, doing all he could to try to scare off the animal. Arkansas Game and Fish says this is the first attack in over 20 years in the state, and they are determined to figure out what led up to this attack.
It is exceedingly rare to have a black bear attack on a human being. When you hear about bear attacks and Western U.S., we're talking brown bears, grizzly bears. That is just not normal behavior for a black bear. And so we want to get to the what caused this.
Now, officials confirm the bear was killed. It's currently undergoing an autopsy to figure out if it possibly was sick, and that would have made it more aggressive to attack a human. Investigators are also looking into if this bear was fed by humans in the past. That would have gotten rid of that fear that bears typically have when it comes to interacting with humans, making it more possible that they could attack. We aren't sure yet about the timeline net of this investigation, but we'll bring it to you when we learn more. Back to you.
All right, thanks.